Hey y'all. For today's lesson, it's 2.15 on our progress tracker. We're talking about tone, mood, and the art of making an adaptation today. Objective wise, what we are trying to accomplish, we want to determine the effect of an author's choices on the tone and mood of a story. So our key terms today are tone. I'm going to put my face up here. Our key terms today are tone and mood. We're going to study what those terms are. And we're going to apply them as we compare and contrast different versions of the same, different adaptations of the same scene from Romeo and Juliet. So I'm not going to talk much during this part of the video. Just pause it, copy the definitions, and then move on. So some new terms. Tone is the author's or speaker's attitude or feelings towards the subject matter being discussed. So it's how they feel about the thing that they're writing or speaking about. Again, tone is how the character feels or how the author feels. Mood, on the other hand, is how you feel. So the general atmosphere of a story or scene, the vibes of it. The big difference between tone and mood, tone is how the author or the character or the speaker feels. Mood is how you feel. And so take a second to just get those definitions down for tone and for mood. The other thing I want to do in this video, what happens if I click this? Weird. Okay. The other thing I want to do in this video is give an example of the assignment that we're doing today. So what I'm going to have us do, we're going to compare two different adaptations, not necessarily two. We're going to compare different adaptations of the same scene. And so there's a scene, a very famous scene in Romeo and Juliet where Juliet's on her balcony and Romeo is kind of hiding in secret, and he starts to talk to her and try to like raise her up. And so the original Romeo and Juliet kind of looks like this. We have Romeo kind of hiding behind this ivy. He's sort of in the dark. Juliet's at the window. She doesn't notice him right away. He kind of has to reach out to her to get her attention. But if you see, she's not looking at him. She doesn't know he's there. And Romeo is kind of whispering, but soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. And so he's comparing Juliet to the rising sun. She's so beautiful, blah, 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 blah. And he says all this before Juliet notices that he's there. So Juliet does not know he's there when he's saying all this. In a different adaptation of the same scene, from the movie West Side Story, which is an adaptation of Romeo and Juliet, it's Maria and Tony instead of Romeo and Juliet. Their names are Maria and Tony. Like Romeo and Juliet, they meet at a party. And Tony follows Maria home, kind of goes behind her building. But it's different too. So it's secretive in the same way, in that people, it's kind of hidden. It's on the fire escape in the alley, kind of between buildings with the clotheslines blocking the view. But it's different too because they're much closer. They're looking right at each other. They're touching. There's a spotlight shining down on them. The setting is obviously very different. It's more modern. And so there's similarities in the vibe and the mood, but there's also differences too. And so I wrote a paragraph to explore the differences. And so I'm saying that in my model paragraph, in the original presentation of Romeo and Juliet, Shakespeare uses descriptive details to create a secretive and romantic mood. That's my claim, that the mood is secretive and romantic in the original version. To begin the scene, Romeo is speaking softly to himself in Juliet's garden. So like I said, Juliet doesn't know he's there. He's kind of speaking to him. All this he says to himself. He's in the dark. He's somewhat hidden behind the ivy that covers the window. So he's in the dark. He's hidden behind the ivy that covers the window. These details remind the audience that Romeo's there in secret. He's not supposed to be falling in love with Juliet. He's there in secret. And so that's my analysis of this scene. He's in the dark. He's half hidden. It creates a secretive but still romantic vibe. Where in the other adaptation, in the West Side Story adaptation, the director makes choices to modernize the setting while preserving the secret vibe. The fire escapes in a dark alley, hidden between building and between the clotheslines. And so it's similar to this in that it's still sort of secretive. It's dark. It's in the alley, up on the fire escape, out of the way of the view of other people. But, however, specific details like having them closer together, so like they're kind of far here compared to this, and specific details like putting a spotlight on them. So Romeo here is mostly in shadow, but in this one, they're both under this spotlight. And what that does, specific details like having them closer together and putting a spotlight on them create a more intimate mood than the original presentation. And so what I'm asking you to do is compare and contrast from one adaptation and the other that you're comparing. What's similar? So what's similar? And at the same time, what's different? And not just like, it's not enough to just point out the similarity and difference. How does the similarity and difference make the mood or the tone similar and different in certain ways? How are the mood or tone in each of your adaptations similar and different? Please use this paragraph as your model. Study this model, see what I tried to do, listen to this explanation, and give it your best shot. What you're going to do, I have a Spanish version, para mi gente, y después you're going to complete the practice activity where you watch a few different video clips and compare them, and that's going to help prepare you for the mastery check. So good luck. Let me know if you have questions. I'm here to help you. And that's it.